The house was quiet in the way only suburban homes are late at night, not truly silent, but filled with soft, distant sounds. The hum of the refrigerator, the ticking clock above the kitchen doorway, the faint rush of cars passing far away. In the nursery upstairs, a small nightlight cast a warm glow over a white crib. Inside it slept Noah Miller, 6 months old, his tiny chest rising and falling in slow, even rhythm. On the dresser nearby sat a baby monitor, camera angled perfectly, microphone on, screen downstairs glowing softly. Watching it, at least for now, was Emily Harper. Emily was 19, white, a college freshman home for the summer. She sat curled up on the living room couch, legs tucked under her, phone in one hand, remote in the other. A bowl of popcorn rested untouched beside her. She'd babysat plenty of times before, or at least, she liked to think she had. Before leaving, Sarah Miller, Noah's mother, had stood right where Emily was sitting now, calm, polite, but firm. "There's really only one rule," Sarah had said, slipping on her coat. "If Noah cries, you go to him, right away. Don't wait. Don't assume he'll stop." Emily had smiled. "Of course." "I understand." Sarah had hesitated, then added, "And please, don't turn the monitor off. Ever." Emily laughed lightly. "I won't. Promise." That was it. One rule. Simple. An hour passed. Noah slept. Emily scrolled. Then, from the baby monitor speaker, a soft sound crackled through. A whimper. Emily glanced at the screen. Noah's face scrunched for a moment. His arms twitched. "He'll settle," she murmured, eyes already back on her phone. The whimper came again, louder this time. Emily sighed. "Babies cry," she said to no one. "That's what they do." She muted the monitor. "Just for a minute," she told herself. The screen still showed the nursery, but now it was silent. No sound to interrupt her video, no reminder of the rule she'd agreed to follow. Upstairs, Noah's whimper turned into a cry, then into something sharper, something urgent. Emily didn't hear it. She didn't see the way Noah's legs kicked, his tiny fists clenching. She didn't notice the way his breathing changed, faster, uneven. She leaned back into the couch, comfortable, convinced she was in control. After all, it was just crying, and she had plenty of time. What Emily didn't know, what she couldn't hear, was that the baby monitor wasn't as quiet as she thought. Because upstairs, in the nursery, the camera was still recording. And downstairs, miles away, another screen was about to turn on. One that would reveal exactly what happened when a simple rule was ignored. The crying didn't stop. It grew, uneven, strained, breaking into short gasps between sharp bursts of sound. Noah's face flushed deep red as his small body twisted against the mattress. One arm jerked, then the other, movements no longer coordinated, no longer normal. His breaths came faster, then suddenly paused for a split second that was far too long. The baby monitor camera caught everything. In the quiet nursery, the nightlight hummed softly, indifferent. The crib rails cast thin shadows across Noah's blanket as his cries turned hoarse. He tried to suck in air, failed, then tried again. A faint wheezing sound escaped his throat. Downstairs, Emily Harper laughed at something on her phone, the sound sharp and careless in the still house. She shifted on the couch, kicking off her shoes, completely unaware that the muted monitor screen was still glowing faintly on the table beside her. Upstairs, Noah's crying faltered. For a moment, there was silence. Then a weak sound, barely a cry at all. His head rolled to one side, his chest fluttered instead of rising fully. The camera zoom didn't change, didn't flinch, didn't look away. It recorded the way his tiny fingers curled inward, the way his legs went still. Miles away, in a dark hotel room, Sarah Miller's phone vibrated on the nightstand. She stirred, confused, heart already racing before she understood why. She grabbed the phone and looked at the screen. Baby monitor. Live feed. Her breath caught. The screen showed the nursery. Too still. Too quiet. "No," she whispered, sitting bolt upright. She turned up the volume. At first, there was nothing. Then, a faint, broken sound. Not a full cry, not normal. Sarah's hands began to shake. "Noah," she said out loud, as if he could hear her. "Noah, baby, cry. Please cry." The image didn't change. She jumped out of bed and ran for her keys, phone clutched in her hand, eyes never leaving the screen as she rushed down the hotel hallway. She didn't bother calling Emily yet. Panic drowned out everything else. Back in the house, Emily finally glanced at the monitor. She frowned. The nursery looked strange. Noah wasn't moving the way he usually did. The screen showed him lying still, chest barely visible under the blanket. Her stomach tightened. "That's weird," she muttered, standing up. She unmuted the monitor. The sound that came through wasn't crying, it was struggling. Emily's blood ran cold. "Oh no," she whispered, suddenly moving, suddenly running. But the camera had already captured the truth. The minutes of silence, the ignored cries, the moment help should have come and didn't. And somewhere on a dark road, a mother was driving faster than she ever had in her life, watching it all happen live, knowing she was already too far away to change what the monitor had seen. Emily reached the nursery door out of breath, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it might burst. She pushed the door open too fast, the handle slamming softly against the wall. "Noah?" she said, her voice thin and trembling. The room looked the same. The nightlight still glowed. The crib was still there, but something was wrong, so wrong that her body understood it before her mind did. Noah lay unnaturally still. Emily rushed to the crib and leaned over, her hands shaking as she touched his chest. It barely moved. "Oh my God!" she gasped. "No, no, no!" She scooped him up clumsily, panic destroying any sense of calm. His body felt warm, but limp. His breathing came in shallow, irregular bursts, like he couldn't quite remember how to do it. Emily pressed him to her chest, rocking him too hard, too fast. "Breathe," she pleaded. "Please, breathe." Downstairs, the baby monitor continued to record. The camera caught Emily's frantic movements as she rushed back into view, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. It captured her fumbling for her phone, her fingers slipping as she tried to dial. At the same time, Sarah Miller burst through the front door of the house, barely remembering to lock her car behind her. She ran inside, calling her son's name, her voice breaking as it echoed through the hallway. "Noah! Noah!" She took the stairs 2 at a time, phone still clenched in her hand, the live feed now showing exactly where she was running. Sarah reached the nursery just as Emily turned around, Noah in her arms. For a split second, they stared at each other. Then Sarah screamed. She rushed forward, pulling Noah from Emily's grasp with a strength that came from somewhere deep and primal. She laid him down on the changing table, hands steady now, frighteningly focused. "Call 911, Sarah said sharply. Emily froze. Now!" Emily fumbled again, tears streaming down her face as she finally managed to make the call. Sarah rubbed Noah's chest, gently at first, then more firmly, whispering his name over and over. Seconds stretched like hours. Then, finally, Noah let out a weak, ragged cry. Sarah collapsed over him, sobbing. The paramedics arrived minutes later. They worked quickly, efficiently, their faces serious but controlled. One of them glanced at the baby monitor screen still glowing in the corner. "You've got footage," he said quietly. Sarah nodded, unable to speak. As they carried Noah out on a stretcher, alive but shaken, Emily stood in the hallway, her back against the wall, sliding slowly to the floor. "I only muted it," she whispered, over and over, "just for a minute." But the camera had counted every second. It had seen the rule ignored, the cries unanswered, the danger dismissed as noise, and now it held a record that couldn't be explained away, only replayed. Noah survived. The doctors said it plainly, without drama, but the weight of those words filled the hospital room like air returning after drowning. He lay in a clear crib in the pediatric unit, wrapped in wires and soft blankets, a tiny oxygen tube resting beneath his nose. His chest rose and fell steadily now, slow, fragile, but real. Sarah Miller sat beside him, one hand resting through the crib bars, afraid that if she let go, something might slip away again. She hadn't slept. She hadn't left. Her body moved on instinct alone, fueled by relief and a deep, shaking anger she hadn't yet allowed herself to fully feel. Across the room, a hospital social worker spoke quietly with a police officer. "The footage confirms prolonged distress," the officer said. Audio was muted on the receiver, but the camera continued recording. Sarah closed her eyes. The monitor hadn't just saved her son, it had told the truth. Emily Harper gave her statement that same night. Her parents sat on either side of her, pale and silent, while Emily cried so hard she could barely speak. "I didn't think it was dangerous," she kept saying. "I thought babies cry. I thought I had time." The detective didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "The rule was clear," he said, "and the recording shows exactly when you chose not to follow it." Emily nodded, broken. There was no arguing with timestamps. Noah's cries, the silence, the delay. Days later, Sarah watched the footage once. Only once. She didn't need to see it again. She saw the moment she should have been there. The moment help should have come. The moment a simple choice turned into a near tragedy. The babysitting agency terminated Emily immediately. Charges were discussed. Consequences followed. Not out of cruelty, but because accountability mattered. Because next time, another baby might not be as lucky. Weeks passed. Noah came home. He slept in his crib again. The same nightlight glowing softly. The same monitor perched on the dresser. But Sarah no longer sat far away. She stayed close, always listening, always watching, not out of fear, but out of love, sharpened by experience. One evening, as Noah slept peacefully, Sarah looked at the monitor screen and whispered, "Thank you." Not to the device, but to the truth it had preserved. Because when words failed, when excuses blurred reality, the camera didn't guess, it remembered. And because it did, a simple rule, ignored once, became a lesson that saved a life.